Hey, and welcome to the Rideshare Consultant. We are back with a very hot topic today. How Uber is over-reporting Uber drivers' incomes on IRS Form 1099-K. Let's jump right into this. So let's get started with the basic fare receipt that the drivers are going to receive once they completed a ride. As we can see here, we'll use this comfort ride as an example. The driver was paid. As we can see here, this is the total amount to include the tip paid to the driver by Uber from the rider's credit card transaction that Uber processed. So the driver received $14.20 for this ride, and that includes the $4.45 tip is included in that amount. So as we continue to look further down the receipt that Uber provides its drivers for the fare, we will see that Uber charged the rider's credit card for this particular ride a total of $26.72. Now keep in mind, this $26.72 is what will appear in your total for each month on your 1099-K. That's right. Per the driver's IRS 1099-K form they received from Uber, Uber is reporting that they, the driver, received $26.72 for this ride and not the $14.20 that Uber paid them directly. So Uber is reporting the total charge to that rider's account as being what they paid you directly, the driver. Third-party fees and operational expenses, as defined here by Uber, these are fees charged to the customer and paid out to cover items like commercial auto insurance, tolls, and other trip-related expenses. And as we can scroll down here, we will see a Nevada recovery surcharge of 4 cents, other expenses such as commercial auto insurance, $6.10, a 3% transportation recovery charge of 65 cents, Uber venue surcharge of $1, and Uber's service fee of $4.73. Now, these third-party fees and operational expenses, these are Uber's third-party fees and operational expenses that they charge to and take from the rider's payment directly. These should be Uber's business tax deductions and not the driver. As we see here, the Uber service fee of $4.73, as defined here, the amount we take to service our users and grow our business, it goes toward things like improving our app and expanding earnings opportunities. This is actually Uber's revenue and income, which if they choose to reinvest that into their business to grow their business, that is their business decision. Now, if you take all of those transactions for an Uber driver over a period of a year and you wait to receive your IRS Form 1099-K from Uber, you will see totals such as this, for example. Now, let's specifically look at box 5A, but first let's define what should be in box 5A. According to the IRS instructions for Form 1099-K, the only things that are supposed to be entered into box 5A through 5L is that Uber should have entered in the appropriate boxes the gross amount of the total reportable payment transaction for each month of the calendar year. So that means Uber's payment transactions to you, the driver, not Uber's payment transactions that they charged Uber customers or Uber riders. So let's move on to box 5A of the 1099-K form and look into it a little bit deeper. In doing so, we will pull up the Uber tax summary for January 2022 that corresponds with the 1099-K from Uber as reported to the IRS. And the first thing that we see here is your gross monthly payments. Now, according to what we see here, this is incorrect. This is not what Uber pays the drivers and is not what Uber direct or instant deposits into a driver's bank account. As you can see here, the gross trip earnings is the same as listed in box 5A, being $5,430.94. Now, let's slide on over to what Uber reports as your net payout. As we can see here, that amount is $3,516.74. This is actually a driver's total gross payments from Uber and the amount Uber direct and instant deposits into a driver's bank account. So, what is the difference between the $5,430.94 and the $3,516.74? That difference would be the expenses, fees, and taxes. Now, keep in mind, as an independent contractor, Uber does not pay drivers expenses, fees, or taxes. So why is that being taken out of the driver's pay, or what their reportable gross payments are to be? Let's examine that a little further. Now, looking at the expenses, taxes, and reimbursements as listed here in Uber's summary for January 2022, we will see here that Uber has deducted Uber's service fee and other adjustments that equal $1,166.01. They have deducted a booking fee or booking fees of $979.06, airport and city fees collected $213.30, sales tax and other taxes $142.66, and event venue surcharges of $108.20. Now, let's understand, Uber's service fee and all other items listed here are the amounts that Uber takes directly from the rider's payment that they process directly from the rider's credit card transaction. This is Uber's fair split and revenue or income, not the driver's. Uber takes this amount from the credit card transaction they process before paying the driver's fair split or service fee, otherwise known as the driver's cut. Drivers have no contact or business relationship with the airports in their local cities and charge no sales tax on any transactions. Drivers have no city sales tax permit to charge riders sales tax, nor do the drivers process payment transactions for the riders. Drivers do not charge or collect a booking fee. Drivers do not charge or collect airport or city fees. Drivers do not charge or collect event venue surcharges. So now, when we look at all of the weekly statements from Uber for January 2022, for all of the transactions and transfers to bank accounts of the driver for January 1st through January 31st, you will see that all of these banking transfers to bank accounts total $3,516.74 is what Uber paid the driver and transferred to their bank accounts. Now, why does that number sound familiar? Because it's the same number that we find right here. That's right, folks. $3,516.74 Uber has listed as your net payout when it is actually your gross payments from Uber, and that number should be the number that shows up correspondingly on your 1099-K form in box 5A for January. But we don't have that number. We have what is listed on the 2022 1099-K form, $5,430.94 for the month of January. Now, one would say, why has my income been reported or misreported and inflated by Uber? Well, it appears as though, and I'm no tax expert, I'm not giving financial advice, but it appears as though you, the Uber rideshare driver, are paying Uber's taxes. So what we suggest is that you do the same math for the corresponding other 11 months that is listed on your 1099-K form. And if you are finding the same discrepancy of overinflated or overreported or misreported income, you should then speak with your financial and tax advisor accordingly for the proper remedy and solutions.